Today we're going to continue our theme of Revelation that we're having for a few more weeks. Last week we talked about some of the ideas behind the book of Revelation. And I'm not going to go over all of them again. So if you want to take a look at that, you can take a look at the sermon from last week on our website. It's also on Facebook, on X, on YouTube, on MeWe, on BitChat, on Blue Sky, Rumble, Instagram, and TikTok. So you can pick any one of those and take a look. Okay. All right. So remember the scene from The Wizard of Oz where the wizard gets exposed, where Dorothy and her friends look behind the curtain. And they have to adjust their view of how the world really works and what's really important. Now, The Wizard of Oz, complex film, it's got all sorts of meaning behind it. Much like Revelation, there's an internet industrial complex out there that talks about the meaning behind The Wizard of Oz. And I'm not going to go into the entire film. I just want you to ponder for a moment what it means to look behind the curtain. Do we really want to look behind the curtain? Do we really want to see what's going on? Or another idiom. Do we want to see how the sausage is made? Now, some of us may not want to see how the sausage is made. We might just like that we enjoy a good sausage sandwich, but we don't really want to know all the intricacies of how it's put together, because some of those might be a little off-putting. John of Patmos, the author of Revelation, is asking us to look how the sausage is made in the Roman Empire, to look behind the curtain. He's tearing down the artificial tranquility, the artificial peace of this Roman civic and cultural worship by showing some stark contrast. John is saying, hey, you think you need to worship the Roman government authorities? You think you need to play this cultural and society game to get ahead or get along? You who are doing these things are engaging in idolatry. Not only are you engaging in idolatry, you're missing out. You are missing out on the real power. John then says in his fantastical and symbolic way, let me tell you about real worship and real power. We see some of this description in our reading for today. As we look at the reading, two things may stand out to you. One, the reading has some familiar phrases, because many of the phrases, many of the verses in Revelation have made their way into songs. Blessing, honor, and glory and might. That's from a hymn. Part of worship music. Additionally, the reading starts kind of abruptly, though. It says, then I looked up and heard the voice of angels. How did we get to this place in John? John is not afraid to move abruptly throughout Revelation. Before this, he was sending some messages to churches, and now we're on a guided tour of heaven. Moves along quickly. It is in heaven that he looked up and saw many angels and heard them sing, worthy is the Lamb that was slaughtered. These few words need a lot of unpacking, and that's where we're going to spend some time on today. They're central to not only the theology, but the message of hope that John's got here in this reading. So, a bit earlier than our reading, in John's vision of heaven, there is a problem. Yes, a problem in heaven. I know this goes against what we normally think about heaven, but in this apocalyptic vision, John's got a problem in heaven. Earlier parts of the chapter, John sees an angel proclaim, who is worthy to open the scroll and break its seals? In the ancient world, scrolls would be sealed as kind of a security measure, meaning that no one had gotten in and got the information yet. Kind of like sending an email with an encrypted password. Thus, the scroll would be a seal, would be something that the early readers of Revelation would have understood. John, the author, started to weep because no one could open and read the scroll. Then one of the elders, a human who was probably representing the tribe of Israel in this, told John, "Don't cry, don't cry. The Lion of Judah has conquered and can open the scroll." Okay, great. Now, the Lion of Judah is a symbol representing the successor of King David, an appropriate symbol to the nation of Israel and what they were hoping for. A strong king who could destroy enemies. Now, this is a good time to take a little diversion into King David and the other kings and rulers. Now, the biblical story on kings is not exactly a positive one. The idea of a dynasty of kingly succession is not one that could be made into some Jewish version of an English PBS-style Downton Abbey or something like that. It's much more bloody. The biblical kings do not start where you would think they would start. It does not start with Abraham. One would think, well, the first king of Israel would probably be Abraham. I mean, he started the whole thing. Doesn't get referred to as a king. God chose Abraham, father of nations. A good novelist would have made him a king. Bible doesn't. The whole potential king story kind of flames out with Joseph in Egypt. Now, a good story could start back up with Moses. I mean, Moses would be a great idea for a king. I mean, he led the whole country out and everything. Nope. How about once they got to the promised land? Maybe Joshua would be a good start for a king. Doesn't happen there either. It doesn't happen until the people of Israel took a look at the nations that they interacted with and warred with and battled with and said, hey, these nations have kings. They told Samuel, hey, we would like a king. God told the people through Samuel, king, not a good choice for you. Not a good choice. The king's going to abuse your children. The king's going to make the king's life easier and make your life harder. But the people's response? Well, the cool kid nations have kings. We want a king. And that's what they got. They got a king. And their first king didn't work out so well. Saul didn't work out. Then they had David. Now, David did some awesome things. He got the nation together. He created this place of Israel that could be a place of pride. He also did some horrible things, but we kind of ignore those. And David is the ideal king. And right after David, the roller coaster of good king, bad king, good king, bad king, good king, bad king starts right away. So it doesn't, the ideal king does not last long. But there we have the Lion of Judah. And I would argue that it's still in human nature to want a king. We still want someone to fix everything and make it all right. We don't necessarily want to put in the work ourselves. Or in some cases, we don't even want to know how it's done. We just want everything fixed and just let me know when it's done. David is the nostalgic, everything is now fixed king, even though he was not. David was the Lion of Judah. Back to the lion. What is a lion, after all, but the top predator? A lion can frighten other animals away with just a roar. A lion strikes fear in other animals with just its presence. Yeah, this makes sense. A strong king like a lion is going to come forward. A king who is conquered is going to come forward, open up the scroll, and then we're all going to be able to see what's inside of the scroll, and all will be good. Okay? Imagine the buildup that John's got going here, but in terms of a game show. Okay? I want you to imagine this like The Price is Right. Okay? John has been given a description of the Lion of Judah, and it's the show, and we've returned from the commercial, and it's ready for the showcase showdown. They're going to open up the doors. The showcase is starting to open. John and you and everybody else is expecting to see a lion, or at least something. After all, we're in heaven, and there's symbols all over the place. But what do we see? Well, it's not a lion, that's for sure. It's actually the opposite of a lion. What we get is a lamb. But not a standard lamb image that we would see on a nice green rolling hill. Not that kind of lamb. And there's a tendency that we have to put a metaphorical cape on this lamb, to make it super lamb. We really want to say, nah, John, we were asking for a lion, but we really got super lamb instead. Such a powerful being. Well, I do think the lamb portrayed is indeed powerful, is indeed the most powerful in the universe, not a superhero with the strength that we would imagine. No, the lamb we get, the lamb that is saving not only the day, but eternity, is the lamb that's standing as if it was slaughtered. The lamb is broken and bloody. Again, we want to imagine a lamb showing its wounds like it had gone through a battle. We want the lamb to look like it had just won in Sheep Fight Club. This is not the symbol. This is not the symbol. The image that John wants to portray is not the image that we want to see. The lamb that has been slaughtered, we see the wounds, we see the spilled blood. If you think back to last week's gospel lesson, Jesus returned to show Thomas his wounds. Jesus kept his wounds, even when he was resurrected. The lamb, the symbol of Jesus in Revelation, is portrayed as slaughtered, bloody, beaten. In John's vision, the ones in heaven, the ones that know, do not seem to be surprised or off-put by the slaughtered lamb as they join in song. They proclaim that this slaughtered lamb is the one worthy of power and wealth and wisdom and praise and glory and blessings. All right, we've got a heaven party going on. A spontaneous heaven chorus gives mad props and praise to the lamb that looks like it should not even be alive. But a heavenly party, not enough. Oh no, this one can't even be contained in heaven. John tells us that this vision now includes every creature on earth, but also under the earth, in the sea. Every creature is praising and worshiping this lamb that looks like it was killed, but is now very much alive. No creature is saying, we were hoping for a lion. We were hoping for super sheep, but I guess this lamb that was killed is going to work. No. There's no wishing for something else. This is what was promised. This lamb that was slain is the one that's worthy of praise. Because the lamb that was slain is both the plan of God and the wishes of the people and all the creatures on earth. So radical is this plan of God. So radical is this hope of people that people can't even really see it. We want to see something else. The people of the first century were looking for a king that would deliver them from the Romans and make an important nation again. They wanted King David, but they wanted someone even more so. People throughout time looked for a king, a ruler that would deliver them from an oppressive foe, from economic problems, from a host of ailments. This still goes on today. The potential deliverer has to look and act the part, The potential deliverer has to be strong, or at least offer the illusion of strength. People want a lion. They want the Lion of Judah. People at least want super sheep. But what does God provide? What do we see here in the book of Revelation? We see a lamb that has been slaughtered and is still holding on to the wounds as the answer. The answer, the one that all heaven and all the creatures of the earth sing praises to, as the one that will set things right on earth. The slain lamb is calling us. The slain lamb, Jesus, is calling us to die and live again. The slain lamb is calling us to die and live again. We are to die to what is causing death. What is causing death to ourselves and what is causing death to others. And live again in resurrected lives. Lives that will still have suffering because of the brokenness of this world. And lives that will still bear the scars and wounds of the world as shown by the slaughtered lamb. And also shown by the pierced sides of Jesus. Yet this new life of forgiveness and new chances promises something better than what was leading to death. Choose to work toward the new life offered by the Lamb that was slain, offered by our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.